Oh,
Welcome back, everyone. We are here again on the Ham and Turkey podcast. Excited to be in front of all of you viewers today. First and foremost, before we get into this, if you're watching this video, if you can go subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get notifications when we decide to drop content, like it, share it. Again, subscribe. We would really appreciate all the love and support. Today, we have a very football friendly show. If many of you know me, as you saw in the last show, that's really my wheelhouse in terms of how I make my money, how I make my bread. You know what I mean? So this was kind of a fitting show due to the fact that the NFL season starts on Thursday, and there has been a myriad of topics that have been discussed all around the game, around our favorite players, things of that nature. So we just thought today it'd be very fitting to have a show dedicated to football and football content. So we're not gonna hold this up any longer. We're gonna get right into it. So last week there was a um, poll put out, an anonymous poll. All of these polls are anonymous just because no one wants to, strap their name to text unless you're like a sports writer. But all of these anonymous polls, one of these anonymous polls was by the players. And the players had an anonymous poll where they were asked who did they think out of all of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL, who did they think was the most overrated quarterback in the league? And the answer to the question stirred quite a frenzy when it said overwhelmingly that the players decided that Buffalo Bills superstar quarterback Josh Allen is the most overrated quarterback as voted by the players. He is the most overrated quarterback in the league. And since Jerome is first of all, Jerome, introduce yourself to the people. That's number one. And then give your take on you're gonna start us off with, like, do you think that Josh is overrated as a quarterback in the league? First of all, introduce yourself, then answer the question.
Chat, all that good stuff. Jerome, 26 years old, residing in Atlanta. Originally from Rochester, New York, with these, you know what I'm saying, these good folks right here. But yeah, I'm gonna get right into it, man. Is Josh Allen overrated? Um, I don't I don't think he overrated and I don't think he underrated. I think he kind of like right where he need to be honest with you. Because obviously we all know Mahomes is in a class by itself. And then it's like 2 through 4, 2 through 5 is all subjected to whatever you might think, whoever it is. And I think Josh is in that category of like, between 3 and 5. And I think that's where he's supposed to be, bro. Like he's and for everyone that he's lost to, with the exception of Burrow. Yeah. So I think Josh right where he need to be. Like he like number 3 through 5. And 3 through 5 is really subjective to me. I think 1 and 2 is kind of solidified, really. But 3 through 5 is where he really should be. Um, Obviously he in the AFC and all of his playoff woes, whatever you may call it, like I don't think I've seen a game besides that Bengals game where he really like played terribly in the playoffs. But like everybody say, like it's no shame in losing to Mahomes. That's really who he lose to. So I'll say he right where he need to be, like 3 through 5. So I got Mahomes 1 and Burrow 2. Obviously, when Burrow healthy, he's the only one that's a threat to Mahomes. So that's why I got him at 2. But Josh right where he need to be, man. Now obviously I'm going based off of him at his peak with Stephon Diggs. Before he got Diggs, he wasn't what he is now. And when he got Diggs, obviously he elevated his play and whatnot. But now that he don't have Diggs, you know, have a real number one receiver, we'll see where he is, you know what I'm saying, this year. But other than that, man, I think he right where he need to be 3 through 5. Like he losing to Mahomes. I mean, that's everybody lose to Mahomes, man. Like it's no
Right.
shame in that, man. It's always somebody, you know, above you that you can't dethrone because they just that great, and Mahomes just that great. And when you pair him with Andy Reid, you know what I'm saying, like the greatest play caller that the game has ever seen, and you got Spags on the defensive end. You know, he might not have the greatest defensive personnel, but he make do with what he got. So that's where I put Josh at. He like 3 through 5, wherever you want to put him at in that category, man. That's where I see him at. But
I
this year,
I
this
agree.
year I say a lot.
No, absolutely. I agree with you. 3 through 5 is probably the sweet spot for Josh Allen, and I also agree with you about basically what you were saying was you grade him based on what he's done from 2020 on because that's when Stephon Diggs got there. The COVID year was
Mm-hmm.
Stephon Diggs' first year, and then from then on, now I always tell Bills Mafia that since 2020 he's been an MVP candidate. Like the first 3 years, he was kind of finding himself and improving steadily on the little finer points of what quarterbacking is. And then now 2020 is like I said when he started playing like an MVP also. Prime, I know you had some thoughts about Josh Allen and is he overrated or not? What do you feel? Is he overrated, underrated, or properly rated?
Nah, I mean, I feel like I don't think he overrated. It's kind of like what Rome was saying, but if you actually think about it, I mean, the Stephon Diggs era, his Stephon Diggs era, like I was saying, that's when he actually took off. As a rookie, you know what I mean, you still figuring things out, whatever the case may be. But I think what he does on the ground with his legs also kind of elevates him to one of those top because a lot of the like Pat Mahomes, he don't run as much or like you have that dual threat quarterback is like the it thing in the NFL right
Gold. It's gold, bro.
now. Yeah,
It's gold.
like that and then he has the arm like to go with his legs. So anybody who's saying he overrated, it's like how do you really like what's the like Rome said, the Bengals game was like the only game where he really just like did like he didn't perform well. So and then you got to think too, the as a avid fantasy player, Gabe Davis wasn't that great. Shakir, like Khalil, he was all right, but I mean outside of the what 1 or 2 seasons with Dawson Knox, and then even with like like is he if you think about it, he had a wide receiver that everybody knew he was throwing it to, and he still was able to do whatever he did. And then in the backfield, it wasn't too crazy either. So it's not like everybody was loading up on this crazy running back in the backfield. So the things that he was doing is actually that might be underrated. Where like
Yeah.
so I feel like it's kind of like what Ron was saying. Like
Yeah.
he's rated where he needed to be, but underrated. I feel like that's low key kind of. And I don't even like the Bills.
Right. No, this whole conversation about I'm gonna let Chester go before I go off on what I
Mhm.
want to say about it. But this whole conversation is really asinine to me when you look at what he's
Right.
done in the totality of his career. But Chester, before I go off, well, what do you think? I know you're a avid Tua fan, so
Not a
and
avid Tua
My
fan.
Dolphins friends,
I'm not an
my
avid
Dolphins
Tua
friends
fan.
are my Dolphins friends will love you for that. But what do you think? Is Josh Allen overrated, underrated, or properly rated?
I just get why they think he overrated. I think he
No,
puts. I
you're
think he
right.
puts.
There is a reason why they
Yeah.
think that, though.
No.
There is,
100%.
and I'm going to break it down. There is a reason why.
It's just the turnovers. He throws a lot of interceptions. He's like Brett Favre, but he's not delivering on Brett Favre level when they need him to deliver. So I get it. That's just my thing. It's just the turnovers. Like I think they have a Super Bowl if he can just scale back a little bit on those turnovers. That's it. That's all I got for that.
Yeah, the turnovers are definitely an issue, and it's been an issue since the inception of his career. But as I said, this whole conversation to me of whether overrated is absolutely asinine to me. And I just want to make a side comment. This is why they don't let players vote on things, and this is why they don't let players have a lot of say in stuff, because they say dumb stuff, and people think just because you play, you have a rock solid opinion, and that's not the case. Josh has probably been top 3 most consistent quarterbacks in the past 4 or 5 years since 2020. He's been an MVP candidate. He's had a perpetual 90 PFF grade since 2020. He led the NFL in big time throws back-to-back years, right? But this is where people are getting the whole overrated thing. And I'll sum it up by saying this. These situations that the Bills find themselves in terms of being down in games and losing to teams that they shouldn't, is because of him. Is because of the turnovers. Not only does he have the most big time throws, which is throws of 20 yards or more, he's led the NFL in that back-to-back years. He also has the most turnover-worthy plays in the last 2 years too. So that level of volatility is almost Jameis Winston-like. Now, I'm not saying he's Jameis Winston. I'm just saying it's Jameis Winston-like, meaning that he'll throw 3 touchdowns in a game, but he'll also give you 3 picks, and he'll give you that game-winning drive to win the game because of his legs, as Prime mentioned, with his dual threat running ability. So I do understand why someone would say, well, Josh Allen's overrated. Because even if you go back to the beginning of last year, they lost a game to the Jets when Aaron Rodgers hurt himself in the second play of the game, that they had no business losing strictly because of his turnovers. And then, right, so now I'm going to play devil's advocate and argue with the person who thinks he's overrated. And then when they switched offensive coordinators when they lost to Denver, right, on that field goal because of that special teams mishap, and everybody wanted Sean McDermott fired, right? After that game, they fired Ken Dorsey. After they fired Ken Dorsey, before that, Bills Mafia had been asking for them to run the ball way more. And in that year, after they got Joe Brady as their offensive coordinator, that's when they finally started running the ball consistently. James Cook had over 1,500 yards of all-purpose yards, and they finally they reeled off 6 straight. And as you remember, they beat the Dolphins to get into the playoffs, right? And so that is where this conversation comes. It's just like when they decided to take the ball out of his hands and run the ball more like they had been asking for, they had won at a higher level. And people hate to say that, but to your point, you brought up Brett Favre. That is exactly who he is. You got to take the good plays with the bad plays. And that's how Josh Allen is. That's how he plays. You're going to have to take the good plays and all of the bad plays. And the bad plays look really, really bad. Even before this, he was a fumble machine, and he could not protect the football for anything. But listen, man, if I'm getting about 5 to 6 big-time throws and your average depth of target is like 10, 12 game after game, I just gotta look past it. And I tell Bills Mafia that all the time. Like, the bad plays that he make, we just gonna have to ride with the Josh Allen experience, man. And that's really what it is. So officially, to me, Josh Allen is a proverbial, a lock top 3 quarterback. If you want to throw Burrow up and down, I'm not gonna argue with you, because Burrow is elite at the small things that Josh is not. And that is what separates Burrow. And he's also won a little bit more. And he's beat Mahomes at one point in time also. So I won't argue that if somebody puts Burrow over him. But in terms of who EJ is taking, one quarterback to start a team, I am taking Joshua Patrick Allen. The only person I might take, and that may be, I may have to sit and think about it, I might take Mahomes over him. But in terms of being able to throw the football in the places that I want it to be thrown at, in terms of the legs, in terms of being able to single-handedly bring back a team, there is no quarterback in the league that can do it like Josh Allen. So that is my word. Does anyone else have any more thoughts they want to add to that? I feel like this is a really easy conversation to have, but if anybody else got any more thoughts before we move on? Right. Right. It's really not much to say. Now, right, it shouldn't be as much of a conversation as it turned into, but I understand off season, you know what I mean? You have to conjure up topics to talk about. So I get it. So next we're gonna move to rookie quarterbacks, which Josh was once. You guys remember in 2018 when Josh Allen is drafted, he was very much a project, very much raw in every sense of the word. And so the question quite naturally is, which rookie quarterback do you guys believe is set up for success immediately? So Prime will go to you first on this one. Which rookie quarterback do you believe is set up for success immediately?
I think I'm gonna go. I was going between two of them, but I feel like Caleb, with the offensive weapons that he has on the outside, and even the running back core, like with Khalil, and if Roshan ever figures out his,
don't forget my boy Swift now. Don't do my boy Swift like that now.
I was getting there.
Oh, I'm about to say, don't disrespect my boy Swift.
He was an Eagle though, so I gotta put him last. But Swift, Khalil, and even Roshan, if he could come, if he gets it coming around, that the offensive weapons that he has, he should be able to hit the ground running in a sense. I don't know, the defense might give him a little trouble. Defense is it's all right. It's not nothing.
It's up and coming.
Right.
He was top 5 though last year.
Towards the back half of the season, the last 9 games of the season it was, but the other 7, 8, 9 games they were trash.
Yeah,
but you're right. They did. Cause they're up and coming.
Yeah. They figuring it out. But yeah, so with how they want to play with Caleb's talent and the receiving core, the running backs, you can't focus just on Caleb like most NFL rookie quarterbacks, because they don't have the weapons or whatever. So you can, attack their weaknesses and everything like that. You can't really do that with the Bears this year. Even Cole Kmet, like he's a decent tight end also. So and I think their line is I feel like he won't be running with his like a chicken with his head cut off. He'll have a little bit of time in it. So I feel like the offense that he's been put into is kind of prime for what you want like a rookie quarterback to walk into, to figure his stuff out. Yeah, he's gonna make his rookie mistakes and everything, but I think some of it might get covered up a little bit with the help that he has.
Yeah, absolutely. Your new offensive coordinator is Shane Waldron. If anybody remembers who Shane Waldron is, he worked with Russell Wilson in Seattle also.
Yeah.
So, for me, Caleb was a great choice. But for me, all I really want to see from Caleb is if he play in rhythm and on time, that's what I want. They're going to have, obviously, they're signaling, right, that they're going to run the ball, right? They got 3 solid backs. Khalil Herbert, honestly, could probably be a trade candidate because it's a lot of mouths to feed in that offense. But if Caleb could just play in rhythm and on time, pull out the Caleb magic 3 to 4 times a game, maybe, I would be happy with that. I don't think he's going to be Patrick Mahomes in his first year, but definitely, I'll say this. Rookie of the year is gift wrap for him if he has a solid season. Like, the Bears haven't had a rookie quarterback, I believe it is, that's thrown over 20 touchdowns in a season. So the bar is very low.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's mad low. All he got to do is throw for over 3,000 yards and get 20-plus touchdowns, and he'll be right there. And if the Bears mess around and make the playoffs, ain't nobody else winning Rookie of the Year.
It'd be case closed if the Bears make it.
Oh, yeah, for real. So
that's why I said with their offensive line, like if they give him, if he can have a little bit of time and ain't just running around for his life, then I feel like he'd be able to do what he got to do.
But you know what, though? Even if he is running around for his life, that's where he thrives, though. Yeah, that's where he thrives. Yeah. Like, even if you saw that one game in preseason where he was doing all that one game where he looked really well. Yeah, like that's where he thrives in terms of moving around. But again, as we were talking about before we started recording, it's like, this is the NFL. You don't want to live in that world having to do that play after play. And that's what Brady was telling Anthony Richardson. To y'all point, you were talking about Anthony Richardson. He was telling him, like, bruh, start sliding. Start taking less hits. And Caleb, I hope Caleb won't have to learn the hard way. Bro, you can't be trying to do that swift magic every
Right.
play, because sometimes you need to play in rhythm and on time and get the ball out your hands,
Yeah.
because these linemen are bigger, faster, stronger. And one wrong hit, you'll be like Andrew Luck, bro, not wanting to play no more.
Right.
So, Chester, who do you think? What rookie quarterback do you think is prime for success immediately?
Caleb, I might just be a victim of watching Hard Knocks earlier, but I got Caleb on my
No, that's exactly what it is. That's why it's made for that. You're exactly correct. You are.
I'm going Caleb though. I don't know if Prime mentioned nobody got Keenan Allen, the other rookie wide receiver. Like I like
Rome, Adunze.
Rome. I like everything that they got around them. So I just got a Caleb and like I think they said no quarterback in like franchise history has thrown for like 4,000 yards, and that is
Yep,
insane.
that's
So
crazy.
it's gift wrap
Cons-
for him for sure.
consider they paid Jay Cutler a king's ransom to come there. Yeah, but that's when. But we know Jay Cutler not a dog though, so he's on the NAD list for sure. For sure, our NAD list is not a dog. He's not a dog.
Yeah, Jay Cutler made the NAD list.
NAD list. He put himself on the NAD list. He put himself on the NAD list. You can put yourself on like Paul George. When we talking, Paul George put himself on the NAD list. I didn't do it. He put himself there. When he was talking about, I don't want to wake up and work out with Kobe because it was too early. That's stuff losers say. That stuff losers say. So getting back on topic though, it is unfortunately.
Like their defense is trending in the right direction at the end of the last year. I think when I watched it earlier, I think Keenan Allen said he didn't catch one pass on a number one defensive back. So it's wrapped up for him for sure. They just got to stay healthy.
Jaylon Johnson is the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jerome, who is your rookie quarterback choice who is prime for success immediately?
So I knew everybody was gonna say Caleb. So I'm gonna give a dark horse.
You might have take mine. Go ahead though.
Listen, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Everything is set up perfectly for Michael Penix. If he actually see the field, everything's set up perfect for him, bro. He got a top 5 running back in Bijan in the backfield. He got a young trending receiver that we really like. Everybody thinks is supposed to be good, and as long as he has a quarterback that's able to make every throw, he should be at least a top 5 to 10 receiver. You got Kyle Pitts, same thing with him. You know, he's tremendous talent, out of this world. You know what I'm saying? If he get the right quarterback situation, he should be good. And they offensive line, bro, underrated. Like, I think they got like a top 5 offensive line graded by Pro Football Focus. So if he actually see the field, bro, he could do some damage. And the reason I say that is because the head coach, Raheem Morris, he came from the Rams. So he learned under Sean McVay. And Sean McVay is probably the second best. Maybe he's 2 or 3, however you want to go, if you want to put Shanahan above him. But he's a top 3 offensive mind in the game. And you can't tell me that he didn't learn something from under McVay. So I think he'll be good if he actually see the field, man. You know, Kirk is injury prone. So I'm leaning towards Kirk might get nicked up or something like that this year, even if it's like for a game or two and we see Penix. I don't think there's a situation where he doesn't thrive. And all I'm gonna say is if Cousins get hurt and Penix see the field and he actually perform, there's no way the fans of Atlanta is like, yeah, we want Kirk to come back. Now they want to see more Penix because he like a modern day like Michael Vick. Honestly, like that's their second coming to Michael Vick for the most part. He's just a more accurate passer, but he's still kind of dangerous with his legs. But you know, that's my dark horse. But obviously, you know, like y'all been saying, man, Caleb just it's gift wrap for him, man. He got so many weapons, and you know the defense trending in the right direction, like Chester said. But I think Penix really can make a push for offensive rookie of the year and can make it competitive if he actually see the field. You know,
I'm actually salivating for Michael Penix to be on the field. to prove all of these people who act like I don't study the game of football and know what I'm talking about when I say Atlanta made a great pick in picking another quarterback behind Kirk Cousins, somebody who's been hurt like 2 of the last 3 seasons, and a 35-year-old quarterback that just tore his Achilles. You don't come back from Achilles injuries, not at that age. You know what I mean? So for them to hedge their bets, that was very smart on their behalf. And then on top of that, everyone was saying, whoa, they should have got an edge rusher. They should have got an edge rusher. But they went out and got Matthew Judon for a 3rd-round pick, which is smart business. You know what I'm saying? So then going back to your point about Raheem Morris, that's maybe the biggest reason why I'm very bullish on Michael Penix Jr. Because Raheem Morris is a great motivator. You listen to him speak. Shout out to Raheem Morris because he's from Irvington, and that's one of the schools in New Jersey that I cover. So shout out to Raheem Morris. But he's a great motivator, and he's smart. And to your point, Rome, he brought over Zach Robinson, who was the quarterback's coach over from the Rams, who used to play for Oklahoma State. Matter of fact, he was Des Bryant's quarterback at Oklahoma State, and he's a former PFF guy who will also be calling plays for the first time this year. And if you don't think that he has a heavy McVay influence, you are crazy. And I do think Zach Robinson within like the next 2 years will definitely be up for a head coaching job. So all of those things combined, Michael Penix has a great opportunity. Now, this is obviously if Kirk Cousins get hurt, but I'm not going to ever wish injury on anybody. But it is highly likely, it is plausible that Kirk Cousins, could get hurt and Michael Penix could be thrust in a situation where he has to take over. Last point I'll make is everyone is expecting, even myself, because I drafted him number 5, right, in the 5th round of my fantasy draft. We are all expecting Drake London to make that step.
I got Drake on my team too, both of them.
Right, man. Listen, man. Drake London was nasty in college, man, and that's all he really been missing. I felt like he had a solid season with Desmond Ridder. If you want to be real, you know what I'm saying? He had 900 yards. I think it was 900. They were talking about last. I think it was like 900 yards he had last year for a quarterback who they deemed to be trash. That's actually really good. You know what I'm saying? Now imagine if he was playing with a guy, because he is a similar type receiver to Mike Evans. So just imagine, he's just less fast. If you want to get a more closer comp, it's more like Michael Pittman and Drake London. Drake London is a more athletic Michael Pittman. You know what I mean? But let's just imagine that Drake London had a quarterback like Tom Brady throwing him the ball. How much better he would be. It matters. It matters for wide receivers because it's a very dependent position, right? It's dependent on your quarterback being smart. And so now that Drake London has a quarterback who has shown when healthy can play at a top 5 level in terms of PFF grading stats and production, can play at a top 5 level, I am looking for him to ascend. And as a result, if Michael Penix is able to get in and just play in rhythm and on time and give the ball to Bijan and get it to the playmakers, he could definitely be a candidate to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. But here's mine, guys, and we're going to have more of a conversation about this. I was thinking about it too. Oh, you know? Yeah. I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about it while I was in the bathroom, man. And I had to remember like all of the rookie quarterbacks that play. I was gonna say JJ, man, because JJ McCarthy. I think if JJ would have stayed healthy, I think he would have ended up starting. But unfortunately, he got hurt, tore his meniscus, so he'll be out for the year. But I thought that my man Bo Nix is probably gonna be primed to be a offensive rookie of the year, and he has a lot of factors working with him. Number one, he's not Russell Wilson. That's number one. Now, that's not to say Russell played bad last year, because if you go back and look at his stats, he was actually pretty decent. However, when your head coach does not like you, it makes your game go right into the tank. And I know a lot of people saw those clips of Sean Payton lighting him up on the side. People got to remember that Sean Payton comes from the Bill Parcells tree. What does that mean? That means that there is no nonsense. He's a no-nonsense guy. He does not take any of that mess. No one really knows what Russell Wilson was doing behind the scenes to leverage himself to get to Denver. And then when he got to Denver, excuse my language, when he showed himself to be an ass. And a lot of people don't know that. Asking for an office inside the building. No quarterback has an office inside the building. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can talk to him like that. They got to go through his assistant. Like, there's no other quarterback. Not even Brady is like that. No. Right. So how do you get off acting like that? Right. So Bo Nix has that working for him in itself. Number two, Bo Nix finished preseason as the highest graded rookie quarterback as by Pro Football Focus, and he had the most throws. Thirdly, Sean Payton is going to put as much on his plate as he can handle. And on top of that, it's not going to be as much as people figure. He's not going to be pushing the ball down the field. He's not going to be throwing all around the yard. He's going to be dinking and dunking it similarly to what he was doing with Drew Brees. That's kind of why they like him, because Bo Nix has played in 5 different systems since he's been in college. Remember, Bo Nix has been in college for like 6 or 7 years. Started at Auburn. Then from Auburn, he went to Oregon. He went to somewhere before Oregon. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but he's been to a couple different stops. And as a result, he's had a lot of different offensive coordinators. As a result, he's had a lot of different systems that he's had to learn. And then now you're going to arguably one of the best play callers in NFL history. You know what I mean? Just put it quite simply. I mean, Sean Payton's always been a great coach. People just don't like him because of his arrogant demeanor. I don't really care about that. He wins.
Mm-hmm.
And he shows that he can win. You know what I mean? So I want to hear what you guys think, though. Like, if y'all watch Bo Nix this preseason, what do y'all think about Bo Nix as a candidate to be Offensive of the Year?
Go ahead, Joe.
Wrong.
Shoot. So I'll say he has everything working for him. He went to a good system with Sean Payton, and Sean Payton will get the best out of him. I just don't know if he has much more to get out of Bo Nix. Like you said, he played in college for 6 or 7 years, however many years. So he pretty much coming into the NFL as I don't want to say a finished product, but he's closer to a finished product than I think the other quarterbacks are. So I feel like
I'll play devil's advocate to you, right? So you're right. He did stay in college that long, and he is an older prospect. But you got to remember, at the quarterback position, that matters a little bit more, right? Because your ability to process things and process systems and be able to make quick decisions, that's really what separates the good from the great. If you look at Tom Brady, the last 4 or 5 years, he's had the quickest average time to throw, right? And so I can see Bo Nix in that same type of tier. It's just like he can be a guy that can compound good decisions. And Sean Payton comes from an era where you never go broke taking a profit. That's their offensive mindset. And Bo Nix will definitely be in that, where he'll just, like I said, just make a bunch of great decisions in a row. Maybe he'll get the one occasional interception because he's a rookie, right? But he'll make great decisions. So I'm just gonna play devil's advocate. Like, the fact that he is older plays into why I feel like he'll be successful.
Well, you have that, but also too, when I look at it, when we talk about these rookie quarterbacks, right? What do we say when we talked about Penix and Williams? It's the weapons around him, because everybody knows, like, if you're not, obviously you got the all-time greats, like you got Brady, who elevate his wide receivers. You know, he got a whole bunch of wide receivers you never heard of, and he make them better. But how often do you come across that? So in Denver, who do they have? Like, outside of Cortland Sutton, outside of Cortland Sutton, can you name another wide receiver that they have, or another weapon that they have on the outside that can actually make Bo Nix look good?
I was gonna touch
like that. So it comes down to personnel also. Like, he can be as good as he can be, but if you don't have the right personnel around him, you don't have, good receivers, he's only as good as the people he's throwing the ball to. So I don't think any of those people really can get separation and whatnot. And in return,
I think that's gonna be
he's
more
gonna hold on to the ball longer, and that's gonna jeopardize, his decision making, because he's holding on to the ball longer. And their offensive line isn't that good either. So
I don't think it's gonna be that type. I think it's gonna be more like the New Orleans Saints type jump with like Kamara and like with McLaughlin in the back and all. Like, I think, like EJ was saying, it's gonna be dink and dunk. I think he's gonna be almost a check down king, because, like you said, the wide receiver is probably not gonna get open for real. But with McLaughlin and Javonte in the back, like, I feel like they're gonna move it. It's gonna be long drives. It ain't gonna be no big time plays. It's just gonna be a whole bunch of long drives. And with them two, especially McLaughlin, like, he a playmaker for real. You get the ball in his hands, he could take that one 40, 50 if he get out there.
I feel like Prime only knows this because he's on his fantasy team.
Nah, he wasn't on my fantasy. He wasn't on my fantasy joint.
Nah, McLaughlin nice though. I like McLaughlin.
I actually tapped into McLaughlin last year, because they had like a little bit was coming up when Javonte he got dinged up a little bit, and they would say I didn't know who he was before last year, but when I seen some of him, I seen him play, and I'm like, wait, like he real talk, he get the ball in his hand, he could take one to the like at any given moment for real. Like, and then I actually did hear though that he was like low key the most productive running back in college, like almost of all time type joint. So like I feel like that, and shoot, if with those two in the back like that, you can't, like I said, like you said, it's gonna be short passes. So that offensive line, it mattered, but I think he's gonna get the ball out of his hand really quick. Like, and Peyton know that. He know you can't hold the ball like that.
Yeah. This guy, Nix is probably a perfect glove fit to what Sean Payton wants to do on offense. I actually pulled up who their projected starting lineup is for 2024. Like I mentioned, wide receivers are Cortland Sutton, Josh Reynolds, and Marvin Mims Jr. Josh Reynolds can make plays, but he's not an outside guy. He's not a guy that's going to be consistent. Yeah, he's not. He's better suited to be a 3 or 4. Marvin Mims, that's probably a guy who maybe could step up and be a guy that they thought he was coming out of Oklahoma. Huh?
They was trying to get him to last, or they wanted. Yeah, they wanted Sean to let him loose last year, so we're gonna see what he do this year.
So like exactly, like all you can do is give him opportunity, and I think once he do get opportunity, he's gonna. I think he's gonna thrive. I will disagree with y'all, however, about their offensive line. They're gonna run the air out the ball with McLaughlin and Javonte, especially if
That's
Javonte
what I was saying.
healthy.
I was like, that offensive line ain't really gonna matter too much.
Yeah, their offensive line is actually really good. Garrett Bowles, left tackle, he's been solid. Ben Powers, he comes over from the Ravens. They've always had a solid running game, and that's really what he excels at, is run blocking. He's really big. He's not a pass protector, he's a run blocker. And that's what that move signals to me. Like, they're gonna be moving the ball. Luke Wattenberg, that's there, and then Coy Miners, he just got a new contract too, who can do both, who can pass protect and run the ball. So and then Mike McGlinchey, who used to play for the Niners. Like, all of these moves, all of these offensive linemen they have are telling me that they're gonna move people. Like, they're gonna try to run the ball.
Who's they tight end?
Their tight end is Greg Dulcich.
Oh, yeah, right.
Isn't it Dulcich? Where's the tight end? So. Oh, I'm sorry, not Dulcich. It's
Noah
Adam Troutman.
Noah Fant not there no more?
No Fant at the Seahawks, bro. It's Troutman. Troutman used to play for the he went to Dayton and he used to play for the Saints. That's why they got the whole Sean Payton connection. He used to play for Sean Payton when he was at the Saints.
Went over to the Seahawks in that Russell Wilson trade.
Right. He went with the other picks that they got with Abraham Lucas and the other tackle that they got. So that's my pick, though. I want Bo Nix, and I feel like Bo Nix is in a prime position to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Like I said, just sheer opportunity, and he may, like I said, the Broncos can end up being the third best team in that division, or maybe the second best team, huh?
I was just going to say, y'all not putting enough respect on Sean Payton's name, man. Sean Payton done took as many snaps as Michael Thomas since he got him paid.
Michael Thomas in it. Michael Thomas ain't evolved. Michael Thomas was overrated once he got paid.
That's
like I just believe in Sean Payton. Sean Payton even him having a losing season last year, I think he did that on purpose. But he's not like
you know what? That's not out of the realm of possibility, bro. It really not, bro. It's not outlandish at all.
He's gonna figure it out.
He ain't like Russell so much. He was like, man, let's get this.
They was in playoff contention, and then he was like, Russ, get out of here. I don't even want to deal with this no more. So we'll get a good, nice draft pick before we get you out of here.
Hey, man, coaches do stuff like that too. Like, that happens a lot more than people think it is, man. But to your point, he is a proven winner, and I will always any coach that comes off the Bill Parcells tree, I will always give you the benefit of the doubt, always. So I have a lot of faith, and I am very bullish on the Broncos. Now, speaking of rookies and speaking of rookie quarterbacks, This would be a perfect opportunity to talk about who do we think out of all these rookies. So now we're going to add the wide receivers in there too, right? So we know we talked about Caleb Williams, we talked about Bo Nix. We haven't talked about Jaden Daniels yet, but we'll probably get to him. Myron Harrison Jr., Brian Thomas from the Jaguars, all of these rookies. What rookie do we think will win Offensive Rookie of the Year? So Chess, you'll have the first word on this one. Who do you think will win Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Hold on.
So we're asking Chester, because Chester's going to get the first word on this one. Who do you think is in prime position to win Offensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL?
I'm gonna go Marvin Harrison Jr. I just think he's the best wide receiver out of this group, and it's a bunch of talented wide receivers. Don't get me wrong, but I just think he's set up for the most. It's just a perfect way to put it for the NFL. Like his dad is a legend, so he's already ready for what comes with being in the NFL, and he's all about football. Like you don't hear the one story you did hear about him is about money. Like he's all about football, really. So I'd stick with Marvin Harrison because there's not too much that you're gonna hear about him off the field.
And to take that one step further, man, I think Arizona is a sleeper team, period. And he is one of the driving forces behind that. He's already, like you said, he's already NFL ready, has the lineage in two spots in terms of his father, like you said, who was a legend, right, for the Colts, Marvin Harrison, who has the most catches in NFL history in one season with 143. And then on top of that, comes from a great program in Ohio State who always, and I mean always, puts out great wide receivers. So there should be, I think Marvin is probably the best wide receiver prospect we've ever had in the last 5 to 6 years, I believe. And so he will definitely have more than enough opportunity. And then on top of that, to again push it a step further, he has a quarterback that can get him the ball. And that is a huge thing too. You know what I mean? People act like Kyler Murray sucks because of all that stuff that came out, but he actually really is really good.
Really good.
You just got to stay off Call of Duty.
Right, but that's a part of it for him though. That's his thing. You know what I mean? But to your point though, I don't like hearing that teams have to put in clauses for you to study tape. Like I don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? You play as much Call of Duty as you want, but that's the whole foundation and basis of this thing is to watch tape and watch what the other opponent is doing. You know what I mean? So, but I like Marvin Harrison. You actually stole mine, so now I gotta get another one. So, Rome, who you feel like will be Offensive Rookie of the Year? Who has a good shot to you?
Man, I was leaning towards MHJ too, but I think the safe pick for everybody gonna be Caleb. It's just like we said earlier, bro. It's just gift wrap for him, and all the hype that he got, man. It's like almost impossible for him not to win. Even if the Bears aren't what we think they are, I still feel like it's like almost impossible for him not to win, just because of the narrative. And the more we get into sports, whether it be basketball, football, or whatever, narratives play a huge part in these awards when they shouldn't. It should be based off production, but we know narratives play a part in it. But with all that being said, man, I honestly think that to kind of piggyback off Chester, like I want to go Malik Neighbors. And I only say Malik Neighbors. Obviously, I know his quarterback play is subpar in New York. But when you look at it, who else do they have? He's gonna be force fed until he can't breathe.
Wrong too.
And it's almost impossible for him not to have, a 1,200-yard season, barring any injuries or whatever the case may be. Like, I feel like they're gonna treat him like how New York did Odell when he first got there. Just force feed him, and immediately he's gonna be a top 5 wide receiver just off his production alone, and he's gonna have some wild plays. And you said, Ohio State, they breed great wide receivers. And in the past 5 years, bro, like LSU been wide receiver. Even if you want to go back,
they have not been They have not been on. They
What,
have
what
not. It's been.
topic?
It's
Quality
actually
over
been US.
quantity.
It's actually been USC. Actually,
Quality
USC
over
has the most
quantity,
wide
man.
receivers put in there.
It's quality over quantity is what I based it off of. So, but that's
fair.
where I'm at. But that's where I'm at with it, man. I just think Malik Neighbors he's that whole offense, and I think they're gonna go as he go. So that's where I'm at with it. I got Malik Neighbors, man. That's my I guess sleeper.
No, that's
Offensive
not.
rookie of the year.
That's not a bad pick. Neighbors.
So,
Just to see how bullish they were on Neighbors coming out to the draft. If you watch Hard Knocks, the GM edition, like they were very bullish on Neighbors. And you brought up Odell Beckham. He has a lot of similarities to Odell Beckham Jr. in terms of how he moves. I think he's a lot bigger than not a lot, but he's bigger than Odell was. But he still can make those same type of spectacular catches. Still can get down the field and stretch the defense. Like he can do everything, that you need him to do. But where I definitely see the similarities is in terms of that passion. Like if you saw that Hard Knocks, they were talking about one of the issues that he had was showing his passion on the sideline. So if he can curtail that into, top 5, top 10 production, you know what I mean? He could definitely have a great shot. Obviously, this is all going to be contingent on Daniel Jones and how he plays.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying that this is the first year that Daniel Jones is going to have a solid offensive line. Even Darren Waller said that in an interview. It was just like he couldn't do anything because he didn't have a line that could protect him. So now that he has a line that can protect him, now that he has a perceived number 1 target, let us see what Daniel Jones does, because this might be Daniel Jones' last season in New York.
And I'll throw another piece in there too. When Brian Daboll was in Buffalo as the offensive coordinator, Stephon Diggs was he was a monster, bro. Like I just don't see a scenario where Malik Neighbors is not he doesn't fit the offense around him like how he did for Stephon Diggs, and to where he'll be a high production type of wide receiver, bro. Like I just don't see a scenario where that doesn't happen.
No, that's a great point that you brought up, because I used to cover the Bills. One of the things that Dable said the year before they got Stephon Diggs is that if he had a top receiver, he would force feed him every play. And as you saw in 2020, that's essentially what they did with Stephon Diggs. They force fed him. I believe that year he had 140 targets, if I'm not mistaken. And then now, right, coming in with Malik Neighbors and seeing how bullish that Dable was on Neighbors, that's very plausible to believe. That's a great point that you bring up, man. So definitely gonna look out for Neighbors to be offensive rookie of the year. Prime, who do you have for your offensive rookie of the year? And you cannot pick Tyler Guyton, even though he did have a great season.
Rome stole mine with the Neighbors. I was going off of strictly volume in that situation, and then I was even thinking about Daniels. So Jaden Daniels, because that actually is a little sleeper situation over there in Washington, with Dan Quinn and Cliff, and I mean the weapons around him aren't too shabby in his own right. With it ain't spectacular, but he can get the job done over there with what he got over there. But I'm gonna go with I ain't gonna go with no quarterback, man. I was a wide receiver, so we're gonna stay with the wide receivers. And this also is off of pure volume too. I'm gonna say McConkey has a chance.
Laugh. Okay.
I'm gonna say McConkey has. So this is like dark horse wild card situation. One, because the two that I was gonna say already got taken, but two, he literally only has to really kind of beat out Josh Palmer. He beats out Josh Palmer as a lead top receiver. We know Herbert can get him the ball. So we know Herbert can get him the ball, and that offense with Herbert back there is not elite, but it's above average. So
definitely.
So with that being said, if he can become the number one receiver over there, I can see a case for him to be like where his numbers are good enough for, and maybe they squeak into a wild card or a playoff situation, and he's like the top. Like I can see him being in the conversation of being offensive player of the year just off of, like I said, pure volume, because it's really only him and Josh Palmer in a sense, battling it out for all the targets. Once again, yeah. Now this stat I know from fantasy football with the 170 or 176 targets that's left with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and all, like it's a lot of passes that can be made toward in his direction. So I feel like he has the ceiling for him is pretty high just off of the pure volume and the quarterback play. Like you said, the quarterback matters. Justin Herbert I like him a lot. Like I feel like he's a really, really good quarterback. So I feel like with that and you know, I think their running backs is pretty good also. So I think, but so it's not like a load up. We know what you want to do. So I think he has a setup where it can be where Ladd can get in there, get in that conversation.
Yeah. I like Ladd. I think Ladd has a couple things working against him though. Number one, you mentioned it, those running backs. First of all, let me go back. First of all, it's Harbaugh. That's number one. Harbaugh has traditionally been a coach, who likes to pound that rock, man. He likes to take the air out the ball. He's not a guy that's going to throw it around yard 50 times a game. You know what I mean? Like, even look when he had Colin Kaepernick when they made it to the Super Bowl in 15. Like, you know, it was Colin Kaepernick. It was a lot of Gore. It was a lot of Colin Kaepernick running.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wasn't him. I mean, he made throws, obviously. Like, you can't win without throwing.
But it was mostly like
it was the ground game. And so that's one thing. Next thing is they're slated to start Quentin Johnson, Josh Palmer, and then Ladd's going to be 3. Yeah. Now, Quentin Johnson's an outside guy, right? Yeah. So he's there. He's 6'5", right? But he has disgustingly underachieved.
Yeah.
You know, from what he was. But I mean, that's the previous regime fault because they knew coming out, bro, he couldn't catch deep passes, bro. He was playing at TCU, and the same issues he had at TCU, he got the same issues now. He has not gotten better. Right. But I'll give Harbaugh credit because Harbaugh is giving him an opportunity to earn it. So that's what I feel like he has working against him. Then, like you said, Josh Palmer's their best receiver currently, so he's probably going to be the other outside guy. Yeah. Then you're going to have Ladd in the slot, right? So at Georgia, which is where Ladd came from, right? Yeah. At Georgia, he was an outside guy. Now he's going to transition to the slot. It seems to me like he's going to be their Hunter Renfrow, right? And I don't want to pigeonhole him just because he's a white receiver, but that's the role that they're saying based on the personnel that they're trotting out there, right? So he's going to be a slot guy. The only way he's going to be able to win Offensive Rookie of the Year is if he has like 160 targets, which is not out of the realm of possibility because he's a heck of a route runner. He can get open. Period. He can get open. So I can see it in that world. He's gonna have to have a crap ton of targets, and he may be like a dark horse fantasy candidate, like a league winner. You know what I'm saying? Where
that's what I was going off with the dark horse short, like
right. You know what I'm saying? Where Justin's just gonna pump him a bunch of targets. You know what I mean? Because if Quentin Johnson keep on doing, you know, what he's been doing in terms of underachieving, and Josh Palmer just takes a step, I guess. I mean, 67 PFF grade, that's decent. But they probably need him to be in the 70 to 75 range. I mean, Ladd has he has everything. I think he has more factors working against him than for him.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I see that. You know what I'm saying? So
especially with the coaching staff.
Yes, right? Yeah. Like his philosophy matters though.
Yeah.
But when they do pass, I do think he can earn enough targets to win the award. But to Rome's point, he is a white slot receiver, and he doesn't have the narrative. It's not sexy. It won't be sexy to give it to him.
Right.
like Ladd McConkey has Offensive Rookie of the Year, that won't be sexy.
Yeah, at all.
So, right. So that has to be factored in. I hate to say it like that, but that's a fact. When have you seen a white slot receiver win Offensive Rookie of the Year? It's usually always a quarterback.
Yeah. Sure.
or a top-notch wide receiver. It's not going to be a white slot receiver. Like, narratives definitely matter. I'm glad you said that. because they definitely matter.
Yeah.
Which is why I think for mine, right, I have two. So first one you already mentioned, Prime, is Jaden Daniels. I think because Jaden will have the opportunity to fail, right, and just try stuff. As a defensive head coach, the defensive head coach in the top tier quarterback thing usually does not pan out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When it comes to rookies, obviously the Belichick Brady thing is different, but this situation it usually doesn't work like that. Cliff Kingsbury has shown that he can work with quarterbacks, i.e., Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech, right? Kyler Murray at Arizona, even though he got fired there, but Kyler still had great seasons under Cliff Kingsbury. Now,
Sure.
I do think Jaden can have that same type of impact, but the thing about it is they don't have enough requisite weapons to get it done. If I'm looking right here, the only wide receiver that they have that's proven is obviously Terry. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody else is
right.
everybody else is question mark. Like I interviewed De'Ami Brown when he came out of North Carolina, and he has not been what they thought he was gonna be.
Yeah.
So that's a question mark. And then Alamai Zaccheaus, that's a guy from Atlanta. Like he's a jag. He's just a guy. He's not a difference maker though.
And Noah Brown.
I hate to say that about an NFL player, but he's just a guy. And Zach Ertz has seen his best years. So those are his four. Huh?
And Noah Brown ain't sniffing that none either.
Noah Brown has to step it up. He just got cut from the Texans, bro. So I don't know what that was about. And after they just paid him the year prior. So you get money and then they decide that you're not good enough. That's not good. That's not a good thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's one. I think Jaden Daniels is. But my real dark horse sleeper, and he is very dark horse, but I think he has everything working for him, is going to be Brock Bowers from the Raiders.
I forgot about
Now, he is one that can really surprise people because, first and foremost, he was taken in the first round. So what do we know? We know that he's going to have opportunity. That's number one. He's going to have an opportunity to make a mark in his offense. Who else is he playing with? Playing with a top 5 wide receiver. Playing with Devontae Adams. Now, Devontae Adams coming off a lot of injuries. You watched the wide receiver documentary. He was battling injuries throughout that whole year. I don't want to say he's on his last leg, but his elite prime years may be behind him. You know what I'm saying? He may not have an elite prime years. Therefore, those targets need to be allocated somewhere. Not really a huge fan of Jacoby Myers. So who else than Brock Bowers? And if you know anything, Chester, about Gardner Minshew, if he get like a target that he really mess with, bro, he will force feed you the ball.
He's eyeing him. He is looking at him as soon as he
will force feed you the ball. And he will make some dumbass throws that get through. And I can see Brock Bowers being that guy that get like 15 targets a game strictly because Gardner Minshew fuck with him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the volatility of Gardner Minshew. And Gardner won the job from Aiden O'Connell. You know what I'm saying? So, and then on top of that, Brock Bowers, even going back to Georgia, because Ladd and Brock Bowers played together at Georgia. Like when he get that ball in his hands, he can make it happen. Like I was never the biggest Brock Bowers fan, but like in this offense, with all the factors I just put together, like I think he could have a year where he'll have enough targets and enough opportunity to make his case. Now his narrative is a little more sexier than Ladd's. You know, bringing the Raiders who spent all of that damn money on that stadium. Yeah. And they make the playoffs, right? And they get Antonio Pierce to make the playoffs, and Brock Bowers is like a huge reason why. They also drafted Michael Mayer last year from Notre Dame, who's also a good tight end, right? But I feel like Brock Bowers has the positional versatility to line up at tight end or line up at wide receiver, so he can get snaps at both. He'll constantly be on the field, and I feel like I said, I just feel like he's primed to be that top receiving weapon for Gardner Minshew and that safety blanket when they get hurt, like a third down juggernaut where he just catches first down and stuff like that, and some touchdowns. Yeah. So that's my dark horse. Go ahead. Somebody else has something.
I think his narrative is a lot like what yours was for Ladd McConkey too, though, because Antonio Pierce don't seem like a dude that want to throw the ball, and They
Yeah.
don't like their quarterback play is just it's not like you said, like Gardner Minshew is not somebody you want throwing the ball 40, 50 times a game
No,
because he's
not
gonna
at
do
all.
some dumb shit
Not at all.
and you don't want that. So they're gonna ground and pound and they're gonna run the air out the ball until they have to throw it. And I think that's how they're gonna operate. And I don't think he's gonna get enough targets to where he can be in that offensive rookie of the year what's the word conversation. But I mean, it's possible because in the league, you got to throw it. It's a throwing league, so you got to throw it at some point, and somebody got to catch a pass. So why not it be him? On that team. But I just think, like you said about McConkey, he got more things working against him than for him. But his narrative is definitely a lot sexier, like you said, than Ladd. But I don't know. I just think that he's not going to be talked about enough, especially in that division. When you're in that division with Mahomes, and now you got Harbaugh, and then you got Sean Payton too. Like I feel like the Raiders is going to be like the redhead stepchild of that division, and it's just nobody going to talk about them, and they're going to go out there every weekend and they're going to give it their best.
Antonio Pierce gonna make you talk about them.
Right. Listen. I think Antonio Pierce is gonna galvanize that team, man. Not to get off topic, but like I really believe in Antonio Pierce in terms of a coach that can galvanize. Like he will be mentioned. This is high praise. He will be mentioned in the same breath as like a Mike Tomlin in terms of being able to motivate players, because that matters too. Like Mike Tomlin's Steeler teams have not had that much talent, but he's never had a losing season since he's been a head coach. Mike Tomlin, I'm saying.
Right.
I won't go as far as Mike Tomlin. I would say as a more recent candidate, I'll say he's gonna be more like Dan Campbell right now. Dan Campbell definitely get his team fired up, but I don't know. Mike Tomlin, he up in that upper echelon of coaches. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he still could be like
I ain't
him.
gonna say that yet. I mean, obviously they both black and they motivate. You know what I'm saying? So it's you kind of want to say that, but I'd say Dan Campbell right now.
13 years ago, you wouldn't have said that about Tomlin either.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like this, it's time for somebody else to step into that Tomlin role, because I know what Tomlin. No, go ahead. What'd you say?
I knew I was with Antonio Pierce when he said both of his quarterbacks was really trash for real. He just picking the
basically what he was saying, bro. And I love him for that. He's just like, when he says neither guy captured it, it's just like both of y'all are trash, bro. Right. You know what I mean? And that's how I know they're gonna be okay.
But at the same time, too, though, you talk about Mike Tomlin, bro. Mike Tomlin always had personnel. Now it's just these past few years where he hasn't had that. When he first got there, he had a Hall of Fame quarterback. He had Big Ben, he had AB, he had Le'Veon Bell, he had that offensive line was a top offensive line in the league. He had the Pouncey twin at center, you know what I'm saying? He was running that. And then his defense was always good. He had Polamalu when he first got there. He had Harrison. So he had personnel.
But we talking about the coaching styles is low key saying like with the galvanizing.
Right. They both players want to play for them. Both.
Yeah.
I.e. look at what Coach Pierce was able to do with keeping Max Crosby. Like Max Crosby had an opportunity to leave, but he didn't. He re-signed a new contract with the Raiders, despite them sucking. Like he could have went any other place and signed a fat contract, but he decided to stay and told him that he told the Raiders front office that he would leave if they didn't re-sign Antonio Pierce back as a coach. So clearly he's doing something right. And if he can get guys that's elite like Max Crosby to stay and play for him, bro, like that matters in the league. I didn't think that it mattered that much either, like being able to galvanize your players, but it matters, bro. And so Pierce has that same type of charisma like Mike Tomlin. I'm not comparing him to Mike Tomlin because there's no coach that's had a losing season. Like not even Andy Reid can say that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like I have to put some respect on his name. I'm just saying that Antonio Pierce is gonna be next up in terms of when we talk about coaches and who motivates, right? He's gonna be that. And then as far as your Dan Campbell point, I'll just say what differs Dan Campbell from Antonio Pierce is that on the field, in terms of being able to try shit that works Like if you remember, they played with his first year, Dan Campbell's first year. They played the Rams, and that was like a big game for them because that was like Jared Goff, one of Jared Goff's like first games back and playing against the Rams, and they were trying like all these fourth down things, going for it on special teams. Like that's where Dan Campbell separates himself. Like he's willing to try stuff on fourth downs and be aggressive. He's a lot more aggressive than Antonio Pierce is. So that's why I wouldn't put them in the same category because Dan Campbell will try a lot of stuff. Not to say that AP won't, but AP is more of a galvanizer, right? He's going to galvanize you to play hard all game like Max Crosby. But Dan Campbell is willing to be entirely more aggressive, which is on par for both, is because Dan Campbell's an offensive guy. He played tight end in the league. Antonio Pierce was a Super Bowl winning linebacker, so it's on par for both. But that's just my observation of both coaches. That's so I love that. That's great. We kind of went off topic talking about Antonio Pierce. I can talk about coaches all day. I love talking coaches. So this will be the part of the show. The last thing that we'll talk about is where we give our takes about our teams. So Trester, we're going to start with you, right? We're going to give. I want you to give first of all who your team is, number one, and number two, I want you to give what you think their record will be, and just give us a quick synopsis of like what do you think? What are you going to see from the offense and the defense? You know, and then we're gonna kind of piggyback off there. So Chester, what do you think about your team and what your guys' prospects for this upcoming year?
All right. The Colts is my team. And the Colts, I think we're in a funny situation where I believe we can win our division, but I also can see us coming last in our division as well. The only way I see us going first in the division is if Anthony Richardson stays healthy the entire year. And I have a little faith in Joe Flacco just off of him coming off the couch last year and leading that team to the playoffs. The defense is our defense. I love our defense. We just have small holes that we need to fill, but it all depends on what we have going on with the offensive end. If we can put up some points and we can just, keep teams keeping the ball in the air. DeForest Buckner, I don't care what year it is, it's for him. I have faith in him. I have faith on him putting pressure on the quarterback. I love our linebacking core. But it's just based off Anthony Richardson for now. His 4 games that he played, he was amazing. Just got to see if he can stay healthy. But Joe Flacco over Gardner I can't even say his last name. What's
Gardner Minshew.
Minshew. Over Minshew, that's just the upgrade in anybody's team. So you give us a chance to keep Anthony on the field for an entire season, I believe we'll do great things.
What do you think about the additions that they added with AD Mitchell? There's a lot of stuff around AD Mitchell this offseason, but what do you think about AD Mitchell? Have you got a chance to read anything about him or talk about him a little bit, see anything about him?
Hold on. Because I it wasn't enough for me to. I don't really get that far with him. I just want. We already got a decent core of receivers, so he helps, but it's all about if Anthony Richardson can slide. If he can slide this year, I'll worry about Mitchell later.
Anthony Richardson definitely needs to be that guy that we all think he is. I was coming out saying that he was the best quarterback in that draft. Like Carolina should have took him over Bryce. And I'm gonna be proved right. First of all, I'm gonna be proved right. Number one. Number two, I'm interested to see what the Colts are gonna do in terms of their 2-headed rushing monster. So him sliding and him keeping his body out of harm's way is kind of be tough because that's what they're gonna need for them to win. They're gonna need him and Jonathan Taylor to be dominant on the ground, similarly to what they're looking for out of Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. So they're gonna have to be one of the top rushing duos in the league. And then I have never been a fan of the Colts front office because I feel like they make terrible decisions. One of those terrible decisions is re-signing Michael Pittman. I'm not a big fan of Michael Pittman because he can't separate, but he's a big body. Came from the same place Drake London did, USC. So, they're similar receivers, but they're hoping that AD Mitchell is gonna be that guy who can win consistently and win down the field. I'm anxious to see it with him. Fun fact about him: he has diabetes. Yeah, he has diabetes, and that kind of came up as an issue during training camp, and they kind of they were aware of it, but it became an issue, like right before the preseason. But he made some plays during the preseason too, so I'm anxious to see what they do with that. And then, lastly for me, I want to see what Latu Latu does. That's their first round edge rusher. He actually looks really good during the preseason, and he was able to generate a lot of pressure on a quarterback. And he looked good. He just looks the part. I didn't like him coming out because he's the guy who medically redshirted because of his neck. Then he came back and was a first round pick. Yeah, he medically redshirted because he had a neck fusion surgery, but he got a second opinion and then came back and they had a crazy year at UCLA. And then he ended up being a first round pick. So just to be honest with you, I hate the Colts. I always do. I always hate the Colts every year because they're just a poorly run franchise. I can't stand them.
From the very top, I don't like the very top, but the further you come down, the more I like the team.
Oh yes, I like Steichen though. I like Shane Steichen. Is it Steichen? Yes, Shane Steichen. Yes, I love Shane. I read his story. Great dude. Very instinctive guy in terms of like being ahead of trends and stuff like that. Like I like Steichen, and I want to see Steichen do well because he is a good coach and he came up through the Eagles system. So I want to see that and see how I made the parallel between the Eagles and Jalen Hurts and Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson. So it just all comes together. So
I don't feel good at all because Jalen Hurts don't make it through the season as well.
There you go. He doesn't make it through the season. So, but that's what they have to do for them to win, though. They're gonna have to have rushing threats from both of them guys until Anthony gets. See, it's gonna take Anthony Richardson another year where he get hurt for him to be like, dang, I gotta start protecting myself. It takes like 2 years for these running quarterbacks to decide, like, yo, I'm gonna have to. Like, look how long it took Josh Allen to realize that he need to slide every play. You know what I'm saying, or avoid the hits. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna take Anthony Richardson that same amount of time because they all think they're invincible, excuse me. Until they get, another hit.
Used to wearing them red shirts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And then the way Anthony Richardson got hurt last year too, going in for the touchdown. I think what did he try to go in for the touchdown? I think he got shoulder checked, I believe, and he got a concussion on that same play. I mean, you scored, but now you're out for the season now. You know what I'm saying? So that's tough. But we'll be looking at the Colts. I'll be looking at the Colts. What do you think their record is going to be?
The ceiling is a 10-win team. The basement, 6 wins, 7 wins.
Okay.
But I see us getting 4 games out of our division. I just don't have any.
4 games from who? Who are the 4 games from? So you're gonna win 4 games
and 2 from the Jaguars.
I can see that because the Jaguars are inconsistent. Okay. I can see that. I just don't I don't agree with you that they're gonna win their division. There's no way I see them ever being better than Texans.
I said that's the ceiling. I said
no, that's not the ceiling. Because they're not. That's what I'm saying. They're not gonna be better than the Texans at all. CJ is a far superior quarterback than Anthony Richardson at this moment in time. That could change. That could change by the end of the year. And that's how good Anthony Richardson is. It could change. Could change. Yeah, he has talent.
On the sideline though.
Right. He has talent. He has a lot of talent. He ain't showed that he's great yet. He has a lot of talent. Mm-hmm. And I think he has more talent than CJ Stroud, if you ask me. But CJ Stroud has something that
he has better football instincts.
Exactly. Better decision making. I agree. No, 100%.
For sure.
So Rome unfortunately doesn't have a favorite team. However, He
Dang,
doesn't live
can
in.
I let the fans know that? Can I let the supporters know that? You know what I'm saying?
I'm
I
I'm
want to tell
prime
them.
I'm priming him, but go ahead and tell him what team you have.
Yeah, like EJ said, man, I don't have a favorite team, bro. I'm just a football fan, you know. But being that I'm in Atlanta, I'm a root for the Falcons this year. You feel me? I think that they made a lot of good moves, man. Like we were talking earlier, bro. Like Raheem Morris, I just think he gonna take that team to the next level. And obviously, you know, last year they weren't that good, but they also had terrible quarterback play. And this year they got Kirk. And like I was saying earlier, I think if Penix can see the field, you know what I'm saying, he's gonna be a good quarterback. So I think they drastically upgraded at the quarterback position. And with the additions they made on defense, man, I just think that they set up for success, man. So I'm rooting for him this year, man. I'm gonna go to some games. And
Which before you finish, which defensive additions do you like the most? So they made a couple.
yeah,
Which ones do you like the most?
definitely Judon and Simmons. I think that's what they were lacking. Obviously, everybody wanted them to draft a edge rusher in the draft, like you said earlier. They got Judon for basically, I don't want to say nothing, but a third round pick.
It's
Uh,
good. It's good business. It's a premium pick, but it wasn't.
yeah,
It doesn't break the bank.
exactly. And then they went and got Justin Simmons, man. Justin Simmons from Denver. When he out there, he a dog, bro. He just a dog. So I like both of those picks, man. And Raheem Morris is a defensive guy too, albeit he came from the Rams and under McVay tree, but he's a defensive guy at heart. So I think he gonna get that side of the ball right too, man. So I like that.
How do you think his prior head coaching experience? What do you think he's going to learn from that prior experience? Remember, he was a head coach in Tampa Bay first with Josh Freeman. So how do you think that situation is going to help him with this next one in Atlanta?
Uh, so when you got prior experience, man, and you get fired, I think you learn a lot of things what not to do. But albeit he didn't have the personnel that he has in Atlanta. So he might be able to try some things, and he might be able to do some things that he was trying to do in Tampa Bay, and it actually might work in Atlanta. So I think he'd be all right. And like I said earlier, taking from what he learned from McVay, I think he gonna incorporate that, and he gonna get them right, man. I think obviously when a coach is fired from somewhere else, it's not a good look when you hired him as a head coach, but I believe in second chances, bro, and I think he's gonna get it right this time, man. I think he's gonna get it right, barring anything from the top. The owner coming down and overruling a lot of personnel decisions that he want to make and whatnot. But I think he'd be straight. And not to mention too, bro, like that division is not good. So he really set up for success. Like that division is not good. And I know I got to give my record what I think they're gonna go as far as their record this year, but man, they got 4 easy W's against Carolina and New Orleans. And I think they're split with Tampa Bay. They're gonna get at least one game out of Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay get them at home. This is gonna come down to home field advantage with that. So that's 5 wins right there. And when you look at the rest of their schedule, it's like it's a lot of fluff, to be honest with you. They play Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is, they played them the first game. They played them on Sunday. And I don't know if Pittsburgh going to be all the way there yet, as far as chemistry and whatnot. But I never bet against Tomlin. So I think they'll lose that game. Then they got Philly and Kansas City right after that, back to back. So I think they'll start off slow. It's a possibility that they could lose all 3 of those games and start off 0-3. But after that, bro, it's like, it's cush. They got I think the hardest game after that they probably got, however you want to look at it, is Seattle or the Chargers. So I think, man, the ceiling for them could be 11, 12 wins, just depending on how fast they all click and gel. But the floor, I can't see them losing or winning any less than 9 games. And I think they'll be they obviously I think they'll win a division and they'll get a home playoff game, but that's as far as they'll go. I think they're one and done in the playoffs, bro, and it's just that's how it's gonna go. But next year they might be all right. It might be okay.
You who do you think is going to be their most dominant offensive player? So we've already talked about Drake London. You mentioned Kyle Pitts. Obviously Bijan Robinson this is the year that he's finally going to get the ball after Arthur Smith got hated on him for a year.
Mm-hmm.
So who do you out of those three? Who do you think is going to be the top offensive weapon for the Falcons?
It's got to be Bijan, man. I think it has to be Bijan. If they want any chance of success, it has to be Bijan, no matter how you look at it. Unless Drake London is going to be one of them ones, he have a Tyreek Hill type year or a Justin Jefferson type year, which I don't really see. Which I mean, it's possible it could happen. You know, Kirk and Jefferson had they had a great connection and whatnot, and Kirk gonna force feed his folks too. But I just think Bijan his talent level is you got to give him the ball, bro. He has to touch the ball. And in order for that offense to be successful, you got to have a balance. And I think the balance is really going to come from the run game. And Kirk is real good in the play action, so you got to run the ball to open up that passing game. So that's where I think Bijan has to be the most dynamic offensive player that they have. They got to incorporate him.
I agree. I don't know. I'm taking a wait and see approach with Atlanta, even though I am bullish on their team. I think for their team to reach the success that everyone's saying that they're gonna do, I think Kyle Pitts needs to be the guy. Actually, I think he has to be the guy that's gonna be their best offensive player because he can do the most. You know, he can line up at tight end, he can line up at X, play in the slot if he needs to. Like he is the one who has to be the guy, and we've been waiting for that for 3 or 4 years. We got it his first year, right, where he went over 1,000 yards, but since then we haven't had it because of a myriad of things, because of injuries and because of Arthur Smith's lack of awareness as to who his best players are. So I'm gonna say that I think Kyle Pitts needs to be the guy that's their go-to, because we already know that they're gonna run the ball, right? We know that because Zach Robinson came from the Rams and he learned under McVay, and that's the foundation of everything. With that they're gonna run the ball, but they need to have that one dominant guy that Kirk can go to when he gets in trouble. And obviously we want Drake London to be that guy, but I just think because of versatility and because of talent, I think Kyle Pitts has more talent than Drake London does. So Absolutely. That is the guy. Yeah, so that is the guy I think that needs to definitely, step it up. They actually have one of the more solid offensive lines from a run block perspective, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Kyle Pitts has to be that guy. And I think Atlanta can win this division, but, they got to go out and show me, because I'm not just going to summarily just discount Tampa Bay because they are the former division winners, right? So I can't just dismiss them. And they sign all their core players back. They have their entire core back, matter of fact, except for Carlton Davis because he went to the Lions. Mm-hmm. But they have mostly their same players back. They got their offensive line solidified, drafted Graham Barton at center, got Tristan Wirfs, I believe, playing left tackle now. It has the highest contract for any offensive lineman right now. So I'm not just going to dismiss him. You know what I'm saying? I want to see it. And they always play Atlanta tough also, because that division, that historically they have all beat up on each other. You know what I mean? That's those division games have never been just gimme. So I'm interested to see what Atlanta does. I will pick them to win the division, but they got to show me. A lot of show me that they got to do. So,
and I think,
and I just want to, go ahead.
My fault. And you brought up Kyle Pitts. I think all his success is going to be predicated on how well they run the ball, because, like I said, when you run the ball, it opens up the field for everybody else out there on the outside. So I think, Bijan get his touches and whatnot. And Atlanta, as long as I can remember, man, they've always had a two-headed monster. So even if it's not Bijan, you got Algier in the backfield. He was doing this thing last year. So they got a two-headed monster that you got to worry about. So it's not like when Bijan go out the game, you just going to stack the box or, or not stack the box, but you're gonna drop everybody back into coverage. You still got to worry about Algier. And I think that two-headed monster is going to open up the field for Pitts and Drake London and whatnot. Like I said, open up the play action for Kirk Cousins, and that's where he thrive in the most. But like you said, man, like Kyle Pitts is, I won't say way more, but he's more talented than Drake London. So I could see a scenario where he's, the most productive offensive player given how they run the offense. So, I mean, I'm not knocking that pick at all.
No, we ready to see Drake London. I mean, we ready to see Kyle Pitts take that step and be what he was, drafted to be at the top of the draft. So now that we've got Atlanta, right, one of the teams that is one of everyone's sleeper, we're gonna have a team that has been proverbially scrutinized over the years. So Prime, we're at your team now. This is a team I would like to talk about also. So who is your team, right? Let everyone know who your team is, and then tell us what do you think their win total.
Man, I know it's the greatest team on earth, man. Greatest team on earth, man. How about them? Nah, Dallas Cowboys, man. They stink. They stink. Dak
You said they stink?
Man, I don't like them. My favorite team, and I don't like them. We ain't winning. I always say we ain't winning until Dak goes somewhere else. So,
damn.
But yeah, that's been since he was a rookie. He like the Russell Westbrook of the NFL.
Nah, that's Carson Wentz.
That's very true.
That's Carson Wentz.
Nah, but for real though, like, man, I can't. This year, I don't like that. We re-signed CD, so that's great. With at running back, we feel like we need so much help there that we got to try to resurrect a running back. We had to go get Zeke again. That ain't helping nothing. Hold
on, just before you go any further, I just want to say, is it them resurrecting running back, or is it them having to pay 3 top contracts in the next 2 off seasons, and they have to be cheap at certain positions?
No, it's for sure they got to be cheap. So they went with the more familiar of everybody. I get that, but you don't have to pay 3. You just get rid of that guy in the back, that's handing the ball off and throwing the passes, and we ain't got to worry about all that. But I anybody that knows me knows that I'm the Cowboy fan who don't like. I ain't never like that. It's not no point in time where I thought Dak Prescott was the answer. Statistically, yeah, you can vouch for him all you want because he puts up the numbers for sure. But when you need him to win a game, it don't. I don't want the ball in Dak's hand if we need to win a game. That's me. I don't like it. We don't got a linebacker that you can name for sure. First or last name.
Eric Kendricks.
Trash.
Eric Kendricks is not trash though. Nice.
I give you Eric.
Eric Kendricks is all right. And they got Marquise Bell, who was playing linebacker and safety, who is from New Jersey. Shout out New Jersey.
All right.
And who's a hybrid player. He actually was all right.
The linebacker group ain't it. Linebacker
just
group.
Saying, man.
Hey, listen, it ain't it. And then apparently you can't be too good at secondary either, because if you get the most interceptions in a season, you get hurt the next season. So so Bland, he out. Trayvon, we got to figure out what's going to happen with him off of his injury. Like, I'm not about to just jump on that. Like, I hope he come back and can be 100%. But we know how injuries go. Like, you got to work that. You got to work your way back in and figure that out. Has he even played preseason yet?
Who?
Trayvon Diggs.
No, he did not play.
Right. So, I don't know how the secondary looking right now. And what our second receiver is Brandon Cooks. He not gonna be Houston, Brandon Cooks ever again. I don't think he can get back there.
You better put some respect on the Super Bowl champion Brandon Cook name, bro.
I
You
mean,
won a Super
I
Bowl.
like Brandon. I just don't think
Bro, walking 1,000 yards, man. Come on.
Right, bro. You disrespected. He had a what? 68.8 PFF grade? Like,
that,
play the height,
but
man.
but that was at the end when Dak started figuring it was it's kind of like what we said about the Bears defense. At the end, it was trending up. Like the way Dallas was playing at the end, I hope resembles what's going on this in the beginning of this season. I can only hope that it's like that, right? I mean, because I like Ferguson, I do like Brandon Cooks. CD will be out there. Like I understand that, but I feel like a lot of our games are going to be because our schedule is kind of it ain't the easiest. They predicting 12 wins, but I feel like 2 of those is gonna happen. We're gonna drop 2 of them and we're gonna make it to 10. So I don't even think we win it. I know we ain't. I ain't gonna say I know. I don't believe we win in the division. I even think we might end up third.
Third over. Wait, hold on. Third over who?
I think the Eagles will win the division.
Okay.
And I'm saying
there's no way you think the Commanders or the Giants are going to be better than like.
The Giants,
I get it, you don't like your own team, but that's just pushing it a tad bit too far, bro.
Listen, the Giants never. The Commanders,
no,
it's low key possible.
Matter of fact, the Cowboys always beat the Commanders.
They do.
There's no way, bro. They're not. No.
Right.
See, and this is the thing, because I have these same conversations with my dad, bro, because he don't like his team either, and he always says some craziness about, oh, the Cowboys would be good if they just got rid of Dak Prescott.
I think we're gonna be second in our division. I do think we're gonna be second.
I'll agree with that. I believe both of those teams will make it to the playoffs. Dallas
and I think we're first round out.
I can't sit here. I mean, this is what I want to say. Hold on. Yes, that they had a bad playoff showing last year, right? I'm not mistaken. They lost to, was it the Lions, right? They lost to the Lions, right? They lost to the Lions. People really forget the year prior, they beat Tampa Bay.
Oh, I ain't forget.
You know what I'm saying? And no one talks about that. Like, they only talk about what happened last year. And I get it. The most recent, right? And it's what have you done for me lately, right? But people act like Dak Prescott just only that one game defines his entire season. Nah. Nobody talks about the fact that he had a career year in terms of PFF grade, had a career year in terms of passing yards, had a career year in terms of touchdowns, and had a career low interceptions.
I said numbers wise is fabulous.
But my point is where is Dallas fans, because they want Dak gone so bad, where else are they going to find that type of quarterback? Unless they take 5 steps back when they don't have to.
But I feel like we do have to, because we're going to be in that. It's the same. I think the same thing's going to happen every year. We either going to be first or second. Well, I mean, we either going to get to the playoffs, win one game, get out, or we going to get to the playoffs and lose the first round.
So my question to Cowboys fans, I'm glad you said that, I always bring up is, so what is the alternative? Would you rather get to the playoffs every year, or would you rather go back, right? Because you're going to have to be bad for a year. So once you let that lead, you're going to have to be bad enough to draft the top quarterback. Okay, so that doesn't fly in Dallas, as you know. It doesn't fly. So I don't see a path where Dallas could get another quarterback on the level that Dak Prescott is currently.
Right. I can see. So, man, but I mean, to be honest with you, like, it's worse. I would take a step back if it was me personally. Like,
that's what it sounded like Dallas fans are saying. They rather take 5 steps back and be bad for 2 years than suffer. I don't even want to say suffer, because Dallas was a top team in the league last year. Yeah. And rather than win and not make the Super Bowl or not win in the playoffs. Yeah, that's what it sounds like Dallas fans are saying.
I would take a step back. I would try to, you know, even if we had to go through a free agency situation, I don't know what quarterback would be available even this coming up year. I haven't looked at it, but like, you take you take a free agent quarterback or whatever. Personally, I think they gotta get rid of Mike McCarthy too. I don't like him either. But so that before I got rid of Dak, I would change the coach anyway. So that would my first the first on my list would be getting rid of Mike McCarthy and figuring out personally if I can get, I mean, just to see, I would try to go get Bill off the he still wanna coach and all this jive. Like I'll go get Bill.
That would be a nice splashy Dallas hire if they did
Yes.
that. That would be, but and the reason why it won't happen is because Bill Belichick historically has had full control of his teams, meaning he has had right, exactly. Jerry isn't giving him control over the roster and the stuff on the field. Like that's not about to happen. That's the only reason why it won't happen. But does it need to happen? Probably. It probably does need to happen, but I don't think
that's what I was going to get at. Matter of fact, if I had to tier it, if I can get rid of Jerry Jones first, that would be like the ultimate first step of everything going on in Dallas. If somehow we can get him to move out the way,
he will never move out the way.
I know.
It literally going to have to be an act of God, literally, for him to move out the way. He's never moving out of the way.
He getting up there.
He is getting up there. He almost 90, I think. If I'm not mistaken.
He's getting close to me.
Yeah, so he is never gonna detach himself from the Cowboys. God has to literally call him home for that. For sure. So
for sure. So
so what are you officially putting on the Cowboys for a win total?
I'm gonna split the difference. The prediction is 12. I said they'll go 10. So I'm gonna say officially, I feel like we'll win 11.
11. I like that. That's a solid pick. Last thing I want to say is that I feel like Dallas fans are wildly and disgustingly ungrateful to disrespect Dak Prescott year after year. Look at his numbers. He's been a top 5, top 10 quarterback.
Trash.
He's been a top 10 quarterback the past 5 to 6 seasons.
If you tell me statistically, Dak, I'm gonna agree 100% with you.
But what more? My thing is, because people have to remember, it's not just Dak Prescott. It's the Dallas Cowboys. And what people fail to realize, even though they didn't win that playoff game, right? And they didn't score a lot of points. The defense was also giving up 5 to 6 yards on the ground every single run play. No one talks about that though.
What I say about him is because they said they did the same thing to Tony Romo.
But that's not a reason to kill Dak, though.
I'm not saying I'm killing Dak. I'm saying when they used to talk about Tony Romo, I always said that our defense sucked. It wasn't Tony Romo. He was always coming back. He was always gunslinging. He was always doing all this stuff because the defense, we can be up at 5. When Tony was a quarterback, we'll be up 5 in the fourth quarter, 2 minutes ago, something like that. Defense lets it. Now it's Tony didn't win the game. Now it's the defense. I watched these games, and it's not Tony giving up these games. The most that Tony did was turn the ball over, but it was because we down 14-21. So we gotta sling the ball. That's why I'm like, I haven't been a Dak fan since he was at State. So
Mississippi State.
Yeah, at Mississippi State. So when he came in as a rookie, when Tony got hurt, I said, yo, when Tony get right again, they should put Tony back in, let Dak figure out whatever is going on. Like, I was already there. I didn't start in the recent years. I was there when they didn't let Tony get his job back. So and then I always felt like with the defense we had, last year, the two seasons, these last 2 seasons, I always felt like if it was a Tony Romo back there, we would have won those games. I feel like that because Dak, he started doing it more this year. This past year where he pushed the ball down the field. But Dak don't like to throw the ball. He holds the ball too long. So we take a lot of sacks that we don't need. There's a lot of we don't get the big plays all the time. It literally took CeeDee Lamb to yell at, to argue with him, to tell him, yo, throw the ball for him to throw the ball.
That's just tough to say about a guy that's coming off of a career season. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not.
Man had the best season of his career.
What did I say? I said last year he started doing it, but it took CD to
He
like.
honestly he's been doing it for 2 years though.
Well,
He's had 2 years in a row
so
where
why-
he's been like this.
So why does CD have to literally yell at everybody to get him the ball?
Because if I remember the game you're talking about the Lions game, right? It was that was the game he was yelling at.
No,
him,
this
right?
was during the season. During the.
Like I'm trying to remember which game that was where they were yelling at each other.
I want to say it was.
Or the Patriots game.
Like the 4th, 5th game of the season, where because CD was only getting like 4 or 5 targets or something like that, and CD was like, "Yo, like he literally he let Mike have it."
That's what it is. Dak's never been a guy since the Dez Bryant days that's gonna force feed a top wide receiver, and I know that's what CD wants, but Dak has never been
Dak's
that guy.
Not going to do that,
right? But
and he's gonna hold it.
Say that,
and he don't.
He is gonna hold it.
He has the running ability also too, though. So that actually pisses me off too, because he's not the most mobile, but he's mobile enough, and he won't use it.
I'll attribute that to his ankle injury.
You gotta be smart with that. Whatever it is.
He's been pushing the ball down the field the last 2 years.
I just said
which is why his interceptions have like that brand of football. Like when you start pushing down the field, let's just take Josh Allen for example.
Right.
If you're pushing the football down the field like that, you're gonna turn the ball over.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's essentially what Dak been doing. But Cowboys fans don't like that because it's like, yo, we want both. We want the Aaron Rodgers pushing it down the field. What's also the Aaron Rodgers interceptions being down. Aaron Rodgers has the best touchdown to interception ratio in NFL history.
But
so that's what Cowboys fans are looking for. It's just like, bruh, traditionally you can't get both. You can't have Dak throwing for 5,000, throw almost 50 touchdowns with the high interception rate.
See, my thoughts behind it though also is that our defense is set up so good that I'll take those occasional interceptions from. I'm a Tony Romo fan, so I'm okay with it. I'm like, throw the ball, bro. Like if you turn it over, I believe in the defense that we have now. Like a few years ago, I don't know, it'll be a little shaky, but the defense that we have now, I feel like you could take those chances because if we do get that interception or whatever the case, we can hold the fort until you get the ball back. I believe that because our defense has been top 5, top 3 in takeaways the last 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm. They have the top 2. They've been the top takeaway team the last 2 years.
Right, like the top. Yeah, facts. The top. So like in those situations, I'm okay with pushing the ball. Now, if you get an interception, you get an interception.
Just the Dak Prescott disrespect really just rubs me the wrong way, and it seems like the Cowboys fans will never be satisfied unless he wins the playoff game, which I'm not upset about. Right? I understand that's.
I'm a low key Dak. I don't like to be a hater, but I'm a low key Dak hater because how they did Tony.
Like I said, man, you can't hold that. You can't hold that against Dak Prescott, bro.
I'm not holding it. I'm not holding it against.
This nigga literally just had his best statistical season. Sure. This is the conversation we're having right now. Like
the crazy part is that I don't even want Dak to win a playoff. Like I feel like somebody else has to come in because if he win a playoff, like if you go to Super Bowl or something, I feel like they're gonna place him. I don't like what he did to Tony, so that's my take. I don't want him to do nothing.
It's all based on Tony Romo, I guess. But so you said you're putting, huh?
It's more Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones be messing everything up.
Yeah, man. The Cowboys not gonna be a Super Bowl contender until he gets out of the way. I do agree with that. They won't win the Super Bowl until he gets out of the way. But so you got him down for, you said, what, 12 wins? That's 11. What you said? 11 wins. Okay, I can get with that. I like that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
we're hate for somebody that you predicting 12 wins for.
No, right, so look, this is what happened. I actually said 10.
That's wild, bro.
I said 10 for real. I said 10. And if you was listening, I also said the Commanders were probably gonna beat us. Like that was like the floor.
Bro, the Commanders are not they're not overlapping.
I said that was the floor.
They're not ready to do that yet.
I don't think they're ready either, but I don't believe in us.
Bro, you can't not believe in y'all so much that you're saying that a team that was trash last year is gonna all of a sudden come and do that.
Nah,
you know what I'm saying? Like
that's more of me just being mad. But
oh, okay. I was about to say, bro, there's no way. There's no
Me
way.
and a lot of my frustration come when we don't make moves in the offseason. We don't.
Because they don't have money to do so.
They
Here's the
don't,
reason.
right?
They
Yeah, I
don't
know
have no
there's a
money.
reason. I know. I know.
They don't have no
He's a
money,
Cowboy
bro.
fan.
Yep, he is.
Everybody asks me like, "Yo, you sure you're a Cowboy?" Yes, I am.
So we talk about one of the most talked about team in the NFL, which is the Cowboys, and the most valuable franchise in the NFL. Dallas Cowboys also. So they hold two things. And now I'm going to talk about my team. I'm not going to talk about them too long, just because it's really clear cut for us. First of all, Sean McVay contributed, and he told us that you're going to run the ball this year. Indicative of where we spent the money. Spent the money on guard Kevin Dawson that we got from Steelers, gave him 48 mil. And then we got center Jonah Jackson, who played guard, but he went to center, and he will be on the line now. And what that tells me is that we are going to be a ground and pound team. Matthew Stafford is probably the most underrated quarterback in NFL history. I told somebody that actually last week, and everybody was like, "Oh, blah, blah, blah." He's the most underrated quarterback in NFL history. You go back and you look at his numbers when he was in Detroit. They're always top 15. He's never been lower than the top 15 quarterback. And when he got with a coach like McVay, who could get it done in terms of calling those plays that he needs to be successful and building that offense that he needs, he won a Super Bowl. That's not a coincidence. So I think with the rebuilt offensive line on the offensive side, right? Rebuilt offensive line, a new commitment to running the ball with Kyren Williams. We drafted Blake Corum, running back from Michigan, who has been solid his entire career. So I think he'll be our second back if Kyren goes down, which he did last year. So I think he'll come right in. He's going to be like our little computer back.
Do you think they split, or do you think it'll be top heavy for Kyren?
First, coming out of the gate, it's going to be top heavy for Kyren. McVay has always had a back that he's leaned to more. Always. They've always had a back that they've leaned to more. I think Blake will get carries, obviously, but he won't get as many as Kyren, because Kyren's already proven himself to be a guy who can first and foremost shoulder the load and do what McVay asks in terms of pass protection. McVay is actually really tough on rookie running backs because of pass protection, because that's one of the toughest things to get. And now that you got Stafford, obviously, right, a guy who likes to operate out of shotgun, likes to sit back there and survey the defense, pass protection becomes more paramount. And Stafford can't move like that. So if you get a linebacker that's blitzing and he getting past the running back, right, because it's B on B, it's back on back, right, backer on running back. If you miss that block, that's Stafford's ass pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So we can't afford that. So with those things, and then we have Puka Nacua coming back, right, who just came off one of the best rookie years, for a rookie. He played really well. I don't think he's gonna do what he did last year, but again, we have a new commitment to the run game. So I think that he's gonna still be a cog, but I don't think he's gonna be as big as he was last year. Got Cooper Kupp coming off injury. This is kind of Cooper's last year, man. What I mean by that is, like, he's gonna be due some money. He's gonna be plus 30. You know what I mean? So they're gonna have to make a decision. And I don't know if anyone knows, I have, because it's my team, right? There's a 7th round pick we got out of Texas, Jordan Whittington, who they're really high on, and he led preseason with the most amount of catches. And what that tells me is that he is priming him and making him readily available to take Cooper Kupp's spot when that time comes. So the writing is on the wall for my boy Cooper, but I am very confident that we're going to have a solid offense, right? Demarcus Robinson is our other wide receiver. He was solid for us last year. Higbee's hurt right now. That's why we signed Kobe Parkinson, from the Seahawks, and he'll be a cog in our passing game. He'll be able to block and catch out of the backfield. McVay definitely loves to throw them screens to those tight ends, so they'll be a part of that game. And we'll have a nice offense where I think we'll average at least 25 to 30 points a game. I think we'll be right around that range. 25 to 30 will be in that range. But the biggest side of the ball for us is the defensive side, obviously, with the departure of Aaron Donald, right? One of the greatest defensive player I've ever seen with my eyes. That's tough. That's a Hall of Famer, 10 years, 9 Pro Bowls. Like that's crazy efficiencies, 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards. Like that's tough to replace. So they're gonna replace it by committee. Got Braden Fisk from Florida State, Jared Verse from Florida State, drafted both those guys, 1 and 2 respectively. They're gonna be cogs on the line, and all these young bucks are gonna play early, right? We're gonna have a line full of just young bucks. So Braden Fisk, Jared Verse, Kobe Turner in his second year, Byron Young in his second year. We're gonna have all of these young studs on the line, so it's gonna be very much a youth movement for us. The Rams do not care about linebacker position. They don't care about it at all. They literally invest zero money into it, indicative of just trading Ernest Jones to the Titans. They don't care. They got a 6th-round pick back for him, and they're gonna let a rookie, undrafted free agent start for them, Omar Speights. They do not care about the linebacker position at all, which is cool with me because you don't invest in linebackers like that. So then, going back to the cornerbacks, right? Going to our back end, we signed Cameron Curl from Washington. We got Tre'Davious White. If anybody knows me, knows about my back and forth with Bills Mafia and Tre'Davious White, y'all know that this is very ironic and such irony, as God should have it, that Tre'Davious White is on my team as my starting cornerback of anything. I don't have any pleasure in saying that at this point in time, but it kind of just is what it is at this point in time. Darius Williams, who used to play for us before he went to the Jaguars, be our other starting corner. Like I said, Cam Curl, we're going to have John Johnson, and then we got Quentin Lake playing the star. So the star role is what Jalen Ramsey used to play for us, right? So that's what Quentin Lake's going to play. I think we're going to be okay, honestly. I think we're going to surprise a lot of people. I do think we're going to finish second in our division. I think that with McVay being the second best play caller in the league and being able to move these chess pieces with Jordan Whittington, going to be one of our new top players. That's all the fantasy people. If y'all watch this, Jordan Whittington is probably a player y'all want to get, especially in PPR leagues, full point PPR leagues. Jordan Whittington is probably a guy you want to get. I believe with McVay adding new pieces to this offense, revamping this O-line, and then the defense having to figure it out and just having a bunch of young studs that's going to get after the quarterback. I think the Rams are going to be trying to be second in the division. I don't think we're better than San Francisco just because they have way more talent than us, especially top-heavy talent. I say that we get 11 wins. I'm gonna say that we get 11 wins, be second in the division. I do think we're gonna get a wild card. I do not think we're gonna host, but I do think we're gonna get one of those 3 wild cards. Four wild card spots, and I think we're gonna sneak up on some teams again. Even though we don't have the players on paper, we're gonna have the continuity, and our young bucks are gonna have the reps to when we hit the back half of the season, we're gonna hit our stride. So that is my full quick synopsis of the 2024-2025 Rams. For me, as a Rams fan and as being a Rams fan since 1999, which sparked my love for football in this game that we call football.
They said they put in Kyron that punt return too.
Yes, I did see that. I saw that. Hey man, listen, if it gets the job done, cool. But that's why you got Blake Corum, though. That's why you got a Blake Corum who can also take some of that pressure off him. You know what I'm saying? To do stuff like that. So, did I leave anything out on the Rams? Anything that I left out?
Do you still got Cam Akers in the backfield too?
Or yo, you are tripping, bro. Cam Akers been cut twice since he got cut. He got cut by us, and then he got cut by Houston. He got cut by Houston, bro. Now he had Minnesota with KOC. Yeah, he done. It's I forgot to say too that the Rams have a new defensive coordinator, obviously, because we've been talking about Atlanta, right? So we got new defensive coordinator Chris Shula, who is the grandson of Don Shula. Great legendary coach who led that 1978 Dolphins team to the only perfect season in NFL history. So we're interested to see what he's doing. He's been there for, I believe, 5 seasons as the linebackers coach, and now he's going to have his opportunity to prove himself as a defensive coordinator and take himself out of the shadow of his grandfather. He said he don't really like that. He doesn't like that people, make him synonymous with his grandfather. And I respect that because I mean that you're going to work hard, and do the things that you need to do to make sure that people don't think that you're just getting a pass because you're Don Shula's grandson. So that's it, man. That's all for me.
You think they move off of you think they would have paid Cooper if Puka didn't have the rookie season he had?
Yes, because they had to, because Cooper came off of a season that was historic. Only
Yeah.
one other person had that type of season, and that's a Hall of Famer, Megatron. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there's no way. And he is the exact. What'd you say?
Listen, man, Megatron, that name just
But that's
Yeah,
the type of season he had though. It was
Yeah.
it was like Mega. He led the NFL in catches, yards, and touchdowns. Megatron's
Yeah.
the only other receiver to do that. So to
Megatron.
answer your question, he had to pay. They had to pay him. You know what I mean? And he is just the type of player like McVay drafted him. He came up in that system. He's always paid his own players. McVay has, right? Always paid his own players. Like that's what he does. But now Cooper is about to be. I think he is 30. Excuse me, he's 30. And now you coming up on that time where young bucks about to start coming in. 22, 23-year-olds about to come in doing the same thing you're doing at 30. So do I still want to pay you 23, 22 million dollars a year? Probably not. When I can get the same production out of a 7th-round rookie, it's gonna be a sad time when they got to make a decision on Cooper Kupp, because he's a fan favorite,
If
coach
Kupp-
favorite, and he's productive.
If Cup go back to his usual form, like if he leads the team in receptions and all that stuff this year, do you think that they still move off him?
Depends, man, on what he would be asking for, man.
Yeah, no,
I
know
don't think
it's
he's
all-
gonna make it to another contract. That's the thing. I think it's just all gonna be money.
Not
Like, I
with
don't
the
care what he
Rams.
put up. Yeah, I don't care what he put up. It's just all with money with them. The Rams have always, first and foremost, been able to slot people
Yeah,
in positions to take over. Like, so
Yeah.
for example, we had Robert Woods, right? And then I can't even remember the receiver we had after him, but it was somebody that took Van Jefferson.
Oh
They
yeah,
had Van Jefferson after Robert Woods, right? Van Jefferson didn't pan out. So they went and got Puka Nacua. You know what I'm saying? Like, McVay has always rotated people
Yeah.
in, just to fit his offense because he's that good. So to
Yeah.
answer your question, I think Cooper may have one this season and maybe next, and then he's out the door, because that's
Yeah.
what they have historically done. They've
Yeah.
gotten people up out of there. that's
The
it,
Bill
bro.
Belichick way get you out 1 year.
See, Belichick is different because Belichick never pay niggas. Never.
Right.
They ain't never, but McVay will actually pay. He will pay niggas, but
Yeah. No,
Belichick
I
ain't
mean,
never
like,
pay niggas.
Belichick always gets you out 1 year before it's too late.
Right. 1 year early. Yes, absolutely. That's always been their thing, to get niggas out there 1 year early. So that's it, man. That's it for me in terms of my Rams. Anybody else got anything football related before we get up out of here?
With him, man. He didn't want to talk football with us. He don't even want to talk basketball.
Bro, I'm here. I'm here talking football, bro. Y'all got me up and out of here talking football. I appreciate it though, because I haven't done this in a while, so I appreciate it. So we should have a lot of clips. So we gotta go around. We gotta let the people know where they can find us. Hopefully Jerome actually puts clips out, tags us, so we can interact with all of the people that hate on our content. You know what I'm saying? But Rome, tell the people where they can find you in everything that you do on social media.
Yeah, man. On IG, man, you can find me at NYFinest1998, and on Twitter or X, however you want to call it. The OGs is Twitter. I'm at Chocolate Wasted 2. Chalk CHALKLITWASTED number 2. You feel me? That's where you can find me at, man.
He said OGs got a name, Chocolate Wasted.
Right?
Hey, listen though, that's my username because my older sister, her name was Chocolate Wasted. So I just put Chocolate Wasted 2 because I couldn't think of nothing to put. So I just put Chocolate Wasted 2. You feel me?
Oh, all right. So you got it from an OG. All right, facts.
Yeah. My sister around your age, what I'm saying? So.
What's her name? Cerise, right?
Sure, you tripping? I don't know.
It was just something.
Hey,
it's
man,
just something.
You might be talking about my ex, man. No, let me stop.
No. Nah, because your sister used to run track, right?
Yeah, her name.
Yeah.
Jasmine. We all got the same initials, man. JEB.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. That is it. You're right.
Yes, sir.
All right, Prime. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah. On IG is JH Prime 22. On Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, it's Prime 22. You put in Prime 22 anywhere, you'll find me.
All right, Chess. Where do people
Twitter
find you and
only.
interact with you?
Twitter only. Beezy Hammond Turk. Beezy Hammond Turk.
Okay. And you can find me on X/Twitter at eDaniel77. Same thing on IG at eDaniel77. And I'm about to start posting on Facebook again. So Ernest Daniels on Facebook. If it's getting reactions, like the one Jerome said. So I'm about to start posting on Facebook again. And I'm on Threads too at eDaniel77. I'm about to actually start posting on Threads. Did y'all know that Twitter is banned in Brazil?
They just did that, I think.
Yeah. So they did it at a very convenient time for people because there's a game on Friday that's in Brazil with the Eagles and the Packers. So the sports writers who have built a crazy following on Twitter can't even access it. You have to go to X and find everything. And they saying like this is really putting a damper on the coverage because now everybody has to go to a brand new platform. People don't like change.
They gotta go to Threads.
Yeah, they gotta go Threads now. Or there's another site that they have that's supposed to be a Twitter alternative.
Oh.
So I just want to throw that in there. One of the things I read from Front Office Sports. So we'll actually be talking about some of the things I read on Front Office Sports because they're actually great topics to talk about. So,
yeah.
I'll get a lot of those things again. So we appreciate everybody listening. If you're watching the long form content, we appreciate that also. We know this video is very long, but we need content. And so we're going to make content for y'all. Appreciate y'all listening to our football takes. And until next time, this is a Ham and Turkey. Like, subscribe, and share all our content if you really appreciate us. And interact with us on our socials. We appreciate that too. So we'll see you guys next time on the episode. And this is we're leaving this episode of the Ham and Turkey Pod.